Okay, go ahead, sir.
All right.
So you were saying that was Hopewell.
Yeah, this is Hopewell. So this little bladelet thing is a
I wasn't
really
even
common.
Yeah.
So this little, so they were really good at making these. This
I
technology.
thought that was junk. That's amazing.
No, yeah. So they use these as basically razor blades.
Okay.
They may or may not have been put into wood like handles, almost like a mahuatl, like the Aztec obsidian swords.
Yeah.
Or you could just use them just like this. But it's pretty indicative of.
And you said it's like 2,000 years old?
Yep.
Wow.
Maybe roughly two. It could be a little bit sooner than that, but roughly 2,000. Same with this piece right here. It looks like Flint Ridge, which can be anytime. I mean, people still gather Flint Ridge.
Yeah.
But it was really important to the Hopewell people to have this, and this is napped very prettily.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like a rose color.
And used. So this is probably an actual arrow. So if this is an arrowhead, no, it probably isn't Hopewell. This is probably more recent. It's so small, this is probably a real arrowhead.
As opposed to like things we call arrowheads
and
are not.
All of these, none of these are arrowheads. Or at least none of these are arrowheads.
Right.
This is the size of an arrowhead.
That's wild.
So these things right here, this is probably
Stop.
who knows? These things right here are probably Fort Ancient.
Stop it. Are probably, what was that, sir?
Fort Ancient.
Fort Ancient, what does that mean?
So that is the archaeological culture that is in this area just prior to contact with Europe. So, Fort Ancient culture is basically modern tribes, but we don't know how to tell who's who, because when you're digging in the ground, most of the material culture is gone, so it's really hard to see who's who.
Yeah.
Which is why it's called Fort Ancient and not Shawnee or Miami.
Fort Ancient, F-O-R-D?
Fort. Sorry.
Fort Ancient. Okay.
Sorry.
No,
Kansas slur sometimes combines the letters. Yeah. But so that's really recent. So these like really utilitarian pieces. So you might make a big piece like this.
Yeah.
And then use it as a knife until it breaks down so much that it's small enough to use as an arrow.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Fort Ancient people, they were really, really utilitarian about some of their tools. And then you get to these things, these big spear points, which are obviously very pretty and works of art. They want them to be nice.
I'm going to let him sniff you. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay. I've got cowboy boots on. He's not going to bite through them anyway.
Yeah, when I took some of these to the University of Michigan guide, they had this like what's in your grandma's attic sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I took just a few. I didn't know which ones to take. They were freaked out, some of the ones that I took. And our collection was a lot better than theirs.
Yeah, well, that's true. A lot of private collections actually are better than museum collections because doing actual archaeological investigations takes forever.
Yeah.
Right.
Where if you're just willing to pick it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
unfortunately,
it's been in the family since those generations back, and so
good boy.
A lot of this was probably collected maybe by my great grandfather.
Okay.
They were probably just picking stuff off the ground.
Yeah.
And my grandfather, I think, was a bit more systematic about it, but of course they're not archaeologists. They just grabbed it and put it in a box.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some of this stuff, this might be Flint Ridge too. So Flint Ridge is not from here. It's from quite a ways away. And some of these, like this is Wyandotte. It's another really good stone. That's from Kentucky.
Okay.
Wow.
So a lot of the stones that you find, they travel long distances. This, I don't even know what this is.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
It's like translucent.
Yeah. And so I know of a translucent one, but it's very sandy, very grainy, not a very good piece. This is obviously not grainy. It's almost like they chipped glass.
Yeah. I think one or two is maybe obsidian also.
Yeah, that's what somebody said.
Where?
I don't know if I don't even see it out here, Mike. That's too bad it's got a broken chip, but isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
If you hold it up to the light,
you can see
something
through
in it. Yeah, it's amazing. We almost thought that something was in it, but then the guys at Michigan said no, it's probably just a flaw in it.
Yeah, just an inclusion.
Yeah.
Some other mineral is there.
So these look much more crude, frankly. You think these are older, or is it just the nature of what they built?
What they're used
just the
for.
nature of what they're built.
Yeah.
So this actually looks more like a newer thing,
Okay.
more like a Ramey knife, which is a Mississippian thing, though this is very small. Ramie knives are normally like this big or up to this big. So they're more like little short swords.
Yeah.
But that's this rough shape, which would make sense if this is Fort Ancient peoples. The Mississippians are like the big fancy like people out west who have this trade empire that spans the whole U.S. Or the Fort Ancient people are just normal people. They're, our cultures were from Kentucky to Canada and basically all those states in between. So yeah, it's interesting to see this combination of things.
Isn't it wild?
There's probably a really, really fascinating site out there.
Unfortunately, who the heck knows where?
Because, to have all this stuff all in one place means that people have lived in that spot, or probably this spot, for 2,000 years solid and never went away.
Yeah.
So human beings have been living here in this area for at least 2,000 years, probably closer to like 10 or 12.
Wow.
So people have been here for a long time. And yeah, some of these things, some of them are heat treated.
Heat treated.
So yeah, you can actually heat treat stone like you do metal.
Yeah.
And it can actually temper it to be more useful as a tool.
So it won't break.
Yep. And that's what gives it the pink hue.
Oh, wow.
Or it's Flint Ridge, and this is really nice stuff. So it could be Flint Ridge, which already is that really, really pretty.
Right, that little quartz color like that piece there. Or...
Yeah. This could be Flint Ridge too.
Now, Flint Ridge is a kind of stone?
It's a kind of stone. It's from one place. I didn't bring my phone in. But
They had a trade for it, right?
Yeah, well, or they went and got it.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
People have traveled that far?
Yeah,
I don't know. Said it's Kentucky?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
So the trading routes here
Yeah.
extend west of the Rocky Mountains,
Yeah.
down to the Gulf, and up into Canada.
Yeah.
And it's not... And so one thing to think, it's not down the line trading either.
Okay.
So if the Hopewell people... They I wouldn't say they were ordering things, because you don't get that until 1970 anywhere. So, so I wouldn't say they're ordering things, but they want 18 tons of obsidian. We'll say it's a random number. They get 18 tons from the Rocky Mountains. That's the nearest place that you get, and you get it here. So it's not down the line trading. You don't find it in between dispersed out.
Okay.
They went and got it, or it was gifted to them from there all the way here in one order.
Okay.
Holy
one
cow.
That much.
Yes, so these trading routes are really big, really extensive, and very elaborate.
Yeah.
Mike, Bert, come here. Take the leash off him. He's doing fine. He's dragging the thing around.
Yeah, so
when we look at things like this, is this like a primitive piece here, or was it just broken, or what's going on with something like
this
that?
piece, this is just, no, it's not broken. So this is the handle. It's probably a knife. This is your everyday work knife.
Like you're like a cooking, or you're getting something ready to cook.
Pocket knife that you're carrying around with you all the time.
Okay.
Which is why it's got this little thing is for the string to go right here.
Yeah.
And so this is probably how it's whole.
Yeah.
This is probably the front, and this is like that back edge that you'll find on almost sharpened steel knives.
Right.
So that's what this is.
Okay. So we should also show you that we have a bunch of things that we consider, quote, broken, unquote. Bert, he's bringing you his toy. Oh, you've made the cut now.
So and so I don't think of them as primitive so much as utilitarian.
Yes, that makes sense.
And like I said, lithics aren't my thing, but these are all very indicative of a specific culture and a specific time. I can't remember what they are.
Yeah. Look at this one. Look at that. Look how perfect that one is. It's just so amazing.
Yeah, so this I can't remember what it is.
Yeah.
But this is something. This is like a Googleable thing here.
Yeah. Google image. And like we got these. I think you said that these pink ones were the ones that were heat treated, or is that just
they're heat treated or they're Flint Ridge?
Either one. Okay, cool.
Most likely, that's the closest thing that you'll find stone like that. You do find it out in North Dakota, which we have found some of that stuff down here before too.
Oh, really?
Yes. But I've only ever heard of one piece being found, and I was there when it was found.
Really? That's cool. Yeah. What about these larger pieces over here? We have this one decorative thing with the
so
hole
that's
in the middle?
actually the only thing here that makes me really worried.
That it's not real? Or it's not?
It's real. That's a banner stone.
Yeah, that's what the Michigan people said it was.
So that is either some kind of atlatl weight, or it is some kind of body ornamentation. And
Oh.
if it's ornamentation, it means it's part of a grave.
Oh dear,
Oh,
that's not good. We shouldn't have that.
So
yeah. I've never heard about graves being.
We've never
dug
seen
up
any
here.
bones around here.
Yeah.
okay, well that's good.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
the powers that be said it was a
Banner stone.
yeah.
Yeah. So that this thing, it could be really old. It could be 6,000.
They said it was at least 2,000.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's
Really?
say
They
it
said
could-
they said some of it was prehistoric.
Yeah, I would venture to say you don't have anything here that is during the historic period. Could be, especially the Fort Ancient pieces, and the axes. I mean,
Yeah.
until trade goods get over here, but pretty much as soon as we get steel axes and knives, we switch immediately.
Right, of course.
Because
Everybody would.
why would you
Yeah.
keep using stone?
Yes.
Of course.
So, yeah, this looks like an old axe head, I guess.
Yep. So that's an axe. This is probably a children's axe or an adze.
Yeah, I was wondering about that one. That looks-
So one relatively modern invention is children. So that's
Look,
in
honey,
the
what I
past. In the past, in a lot of cultures, not necessarily true all over Earth, but especially here, they're not children. They're small adults who need to learn.
Yeah.
So you give them an axe that's this size, so that by the time they're an adult, they can use a full-sized axe.
Right.
And they know how to do it, and they've always been doing it.
Yep.
A fun little fact, for a lot of the cultures around here, axes were actually women's tools. So it was actually a very feminine thing to have an axe and cut trees down with it.
That's cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, so when you see like those big two-handed axes in museums, those were probably women's tools.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's great.
But yeah, this is probably an adze.
Yes. Okay.
So not an axe.
What is that? That's an adze.
It's so like an axe, but it's sideways, so you hollow out things.
It's
rather-
for, it's for
hollowing out canoes and
working wood.
things?
yeah,
kind of-
woodworking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see where it's real smooth.
Yeah, it looks like, it's
Like
been
we have
used
this
a lot.
bowl over here that might have been.
Yeah, you would use. I mean,
Probably.
you'd probably use power tools to make it now, but
Yeah.
you would use an adze to clear that out. That
Yeah.
or fire,
Yeah.
or a combination
fire,
of
yeah.
both.
We used to live in Maine, and there's a big Penobscot community up there, and there was a guy who was making a
Oh,
canoe
canoe.
for years
Yeah.
out of a huge tree.
Yeah.
So that you could see it. Once in a while, he get some
That's
time to
cool.
work
Yeah.
on it, he'd burn it out.
It was on the front yard, so we
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I actually, a couple summers ago, I did that. So this is also looks more like an adze, but it's a celt. A celt is just if you can't tell if it's an axe or an adze.
can.
Okay.
It's
So
a
you hear-
compromise.
so you'll see a lot of things in museums called celts, and you're like, well, what are those? It's because they don't know what it is.
It's the
Uh,
default.
Yeah, so that's the default. So, yeah, so it's really you look at the edge geometry. If it looks flatter on one side and more
Okay.
rounded on the other, probably an adze. So that's why I think that's an
Oh,
adze.
yeah, 'cause
because
you can see it there.
these
Yeah.
are axes. So you can see they're
Right,
very
right, yeah.
similar.
Yeah.
And this one was used a lot. This is incredibly smoothed over.
Yeah. Presumably some of these I just tossed them because they were done.
Axes just come up to the surface really easy too.
Yeah.
So, like a lot of the times you'll find these huge, beautiful axes, and they're not from anything worrying. So it just happens.
As far as I know, there was not much, if any, digging that went on here. But
Yeah.
again,
was
most
just
of this stuff
plowing
was
over
probably
and over.
collected in the latter half of the 19th century, so it's hard to say
Okay.
what people were doing then.
Yeah, he says his grandfather and great grandfather would just be on the plow and they would just get down and see
I
stuff.
mean,
Yeah,
people do that today.
Yep.
Just pick it up after the plow's gone
And
through.
I don't think a single one of these ever came up since I was here, like starting in the 70s. So
Okay.
there's very little that seems to be popping up now.
Oh, I'm sure that's just because it's. I'm
Modern.
sure
Modern.
there's a lot
I'm sure
of
it's still,
stuff there.
it could very well be out there.
Let's say if this combination is all from one place,
Yeah.
there's a whole lot more there.
Yeah. So it's from the farm as a
So-
whole. I bet I do think
But
there
yeah,
were
this
certain
was
areas that
pretty
more
big.
common.
This was 450 acres
Don't-
at least, probably
I
at some
will-
point.
I
No,
definitely-
how big?
It was never any bigger than it is now, which is about 200 acres.
So this is
Yeah.
quartzite. Whatever this is, it's very special. If this was in a museum, I would not want it to be on display.
Really?
So
Why?
quartz is really powerful.
Okay.
I almost put that in the broken pile.
Yeah, no. So it's definitely more of a power item. So
I
it's
see.
very rare. It's very hard to work. So
Yes.
even getting this roughly crude arrowhead shape,
Yeah.
this would have been really hard to do, because it would be like trying to flake this stuff.
There may be another piece in the broken box, Mike. We should look.
Go ahead.
Well, we're giving you the broken box too. We're giving you all of this.
Yeah.
You're taking all of this home.
Okay, yeah. So that's a special piece. That's obviously special. These bigger ones are special. I mean, they're.
I would imagine you're taking everything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't take your things if you
You're
want.
you're
I
taking it
signed-
all.
Yeah.
You're taking it all.
Yeah.
We signed it off.
Everything that's here is yours.
Yes, everything here is yours. We've got boxes for you to take stuff home in.
Cool. Yeah, no, we definitely will take it. And a lot of these are, some of them are local stones, like this. This is a local stone. I can't remember its name. But yeah, so this is, could be
I'm
a
so
knife.
glad
could be
this
a
is good
spear.
stuff, though. That makes me really feel good. I'm so glad you're getting this. It's wonderful.
Yeah, more wine dot.
Do you figure you put it on display? What do you figure you're going to do with it? It's kind of cool.
Honestly, I'm not sure yet. We're kind of debating that because we keep getting these. We've had literally the week you called, I had 4 other people call me with the
That's
same
great.
thing, and none before and none since. So
Okay.
like these are
It was
just
like
little
it's just
spurts.
kind of like
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
right now we're deciding what to do with them. So like these bigger, like this deserves to go somewhere.
yeah.
I mean, this is a beautiful piece.
Yeah. It's
So what we do with it is kind of up for debate right now, especially as we're going to be getting these things more and more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just become something in the zeitgeist where we have no right to this stuff. It's not ours, so it really needs to be with the descendants of the people who made it. So yeah,
It's curved like that?
So this is probably just somebody knocked off a flake. So
Oh.
imagine a big cobble. They
I
hit
see.
it.
Okay, so we just
This popped off, and they're like, "Well, that is the perfect shape to make a knife."
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
So they use this. So this is once again everyday pocket knife, and you
Yeah.
can actually feel the thumb. This is how you hold it.
Huh.
that's so cool.
Wow. Well, yeah, you're right.
It fits in the hand so nicely, doesn't it?
So
Okay.
that's where you can see along the edge they've sharpened it.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
they used it and sharpened it.
yeah.
Where this one you can see, they might have resharpened this one, maybe. The Hopewell are weird, and we don't know what they do, why they do anything they do.
Why called Hopewell?
So
Is that the town where they're
the
like-
Hopewell site? So there's a singular, like one that's like the biggest, coolest one. Was owned by this farmer whose name was Hopewell, and so they named it the Hopewell culture.
Yeah.
To be fair, he had bought it from a different family about a month before the archaeologist came out. So it was almost the Smith culture. So at least Hopewell's unique.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and so this stuff's really good. I'm pretty sure this stuff is from Kentucky as well.
Okay.
But yeah, that's just a short little jaunt away for these guys.
Yeah.
Especially with the river, you just hop on and you
Yeah.
don't even have to take a
That's
step.
Yeah,
Sure.
take the local or the
Take it
express.
right on down to the Ohio. There you are.
Yeah, and I'll show these this stuff to our lithics guys, and I could probably give you some answers for a few of the cooler pieces.
That would
for
be
sure.
lovely. We'd love to have that.
Yeah, you've got some drills here, so that's a
what that
drill.
is. We were
Oh, is
wondering
that
about
what it was? Was that for planting or what?
Nope. So you take like a bow drill.
Uh-huh.
Oh, right.
Oh,
take
to
bow
drill a hole in the-
Yeah. So that's how you get holes in things. is
Of course.
you make
I was
those.
wondering about that. Yeah.
And a lot of the time, you'll get pieces like, just pick a random one like this. This is a really good tool, and then you sharpen it so much that you can't really sharpen it anymore.
Yeah.
And then you'll break it real small and thin, and then boom, you've got a drill.
Excellent. Yeah. For holes for bows and stringing a bow.
Bows,
Yeah, if you-
pots,
What? Maybe.
anything you need a hole in.
Yeah.
The hole made there.
I think this thing is so wild.
So things like this,
Yeah.
probably
It looks
are,
almost like factory made. It's so amazing.
I couldn't
So-
believe it's ancient.
this probably is actually somebody took a piece of river cane and some sand, sprinkled it on there, and started bow drilling it.
Ah, okay.
And just kept doing that
Yeah.
for a long
How did they get
time.
it so smooth?
Again, it's probably sand and grit and
Sand,
that kind of stuff.
and once you get up to a certain grit, you actually
Switch
kind
to
of
a
grass around here, which is pretty rough.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
And then you do that.
I did.
And then you could put it in a leather bag with leather. And you carry that around. So you just put it on your belt,
Yeah.
and it'll smooth it out too.
Interesting.
Just like you made your astronomy stuff.
I mean,
right?
yeah, I ran a telescope when I was a kid, which involves using grit, and at the very end you use rouge, which is essentially this sort of dirt dust.
Yeah.
To get it down to like.
That's funny.
So you just time.
Yeah.
And so, a lot of these guys, they don't have 9 to 5s. They have
Yeah.
farms to take care of. But like farms, if you don't have power equipment, everything is in the ground. You've done all the weeding.
Yeah.
You have a lot of free time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's how they're able to make these pieces of art like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you've got some really amazing stuff here. Like I said, lithics are not my thing.
Dude, you know plenty. You know a lot more than we do.
And this is... I think you guys have a lot of Flint Ridge things here. Which says Hopewell. But
Yeah.
Hopewell, Bladelet. And if some of this stuff is obsidian, definitely Hopewell. Like that.
Remind me again where Hopewell is. I forget. I'm sorry.
Well,
It's so Hopewell is more of a spreading religion rather than a culture. So
Okay.
a lot of archaeological cultures are the best way for archaeologists to describe what they think is a separate group of people from other groups of people based on lithics and ceramics, because that's all that's left.
Yeah.
Hopewell is a little different because it's actually a archaeological religion that they see. So other cultures come in and practice the Hopewell ways. And you see this from like out west of the Rockies. Those people are coming here, doing Hopewell things, and then going back.
Interesting.
And what's really weird is you've got these huge monumental earthworks, giant things. I think the Hopewell site, you could fit 17 of the pyramids of Giza inside of it. I mean, it's
you've seen
massive.
these, right?
No,
We should go
I don't
visit
think
them.
I
You haven't heard about
Where?
them?
Well, I've heard
It's
the
all
term.
over Illinois and parts of.
Oh, I've
Ohio.
heard of those mounds. Yeah,
So-
they're mounds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So mounds that starts 5,000 years ago
Yeah.
and it goes to 1750. So like mounds are throughout.
Yeah.
The earthworks I'm talking about are like more like enclosures. They call them forts when they're first Europeans are first encountering them, but they're not forts. They are some kind of monumental architecture for worship.
Okay.
From some kind of ceremonialism. We don't really know what it is, but that is basically what Hopewell is.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, we gotta go see
The
those.
closest, I guess, in Europe would be like the Stonehenge and all the various things, especially in England, right?
Yeah, right.
Sort of.
They have those
Neolithic
rat
stone
circles
stuff.
and things. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty
I got some
unique.
reading to do.
Though, whether the Hopewell religion ended or whether it changed over time, I'm guessing it probably changed over time because you see a lot of relatively Hopewellian looking, feeling things and even modern native religions here.
Really?
So native tribes who still have their religions, a lot of it is the iconography can be very similar to Hopewell things. And same thing for Fort Ancient things. So like think about Catholicism. It's been around for 2,000 years. Same thing. It's obviously changed over 2,000 years. So it's obviously changed. But the huge earthworks definitely stopped. Let's see. I just saw one I wanted to look at, and I don't remember which one it was.
We didn't really know how to organize.
We
these,
had
so
no clue how to organize
Sort of
this
did
stuff.
it by size and some dates. And
They
some
said
things that
size,
look somewhat
material, form was what they said to me.
Yeah, I think you guys got a Hopewell something here.
Hopewell Motherlode.
Yeah, we'll have to go over there and look around. And you guys do not have any mounds, do you?
similar. No, I don't think so. Nothing I'm aware of.
Probably poor things are probably been flattened if there were any.
We do have some bluffs, though, natural bluffs. I hope they're
Okay.
natural.
Hopefully they're natural. Would we know?
I don't know.
Just depends.
So,
Take some training.
It was called Bluffton for a reason.
Fair enough. But bluffs are also a place where you can find some of this stuff too.
Yeah, I think a lot of this came from some areas.
Think of a pretty place that you'd want to have a house if you could
Right.
choose to.
Yeah.
people 10,000 years ago
Would
agreed.
say right.
2,000 years
Yeah.
ago agreed.
And I have to say, they were very clever. My ancestors were clever about siting this place because this whole area is basically a swamp.
Yep.
And in really bad floods, this house is on an island. You wouldn't see, I mean, I couldn't see that with my eye, but they somehow figured that out.
The water's come up to within 6 feet of this house and it's never flooded.
That's probably why these things are here.
Yes, because
Same reason.
Yeah.
This is the
thinking-
place that doesn't flood.
Yeah.
Right. But there are also spots down by the river that are even higher. Weirdly.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's where you're going to get these sites.
Yeah.
I
So
studied.
some of them could just be right for this house, this area here.
Yep.
So, that's true.
Yep. I studied a village in Lawrenceburg, a Fort Ancient village there, and it is also on an island, but you can't see it until it floods.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. This road becomes a part of the river.
The whole
You can
road,
actually
yeah, it
take a
just
boat
goes.
down it, but the house is dry.
Yeah.
Would you like some coffee?
Coffee or cake?
We got some cinnamon rolls.
Um,
Or would you like a bathroom?
I literally just ate.
Okay.
Just before I got here. I was so hungry. I would have taken you up on it a few
Would
minutes
you
ago.
like some coffee?
I'll take coffee.
And
Sure.
there's a bathroom right behind you if you like.